Hello and welcome to Take a Wander with Shebs. Now my guest today is Alex Thompson, who is the CEO of Legaroo. Alex and I spoke about his business Legaroo in more detail and how it can help travellers all around the world that get into trouble, plus where he wants it to be in the next few years. We also spoke about some of his travels itself. So sit back and enjoy. Thank you very much for coming on, Alex. I really appreciate your time. How are you?
Good. Everything's good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I wish I was in Costa Rica.
It's 24 degrees outside here, so it's awesome.
Amazing. Not quite like that here, unfortunately. So we're in 2021. So how was 2022 on a I guess let's just say creative level, work, everything really? How did it pan out for you?
I mean, mixed feelings, I guess, over what happened in 2020. Well, first of all, the craziness of the pandemic and the fact that we were not able to travel as much as we wanted, especially for me, was very tough. However, in the concept of what we created in Legaroo, it was an amazing year. Uh, Basically, because there's an understanding of how the world is it's evolving and why it's important to complement when you travel with additional tools, let's say, for safety and prevention. And this is what we're trying to accomplish. And we were very successful into um, engaging and formalizing partnerships with not only on the commercial side but on the risk management side, and so the concept itself grew very importantly during 2020. Yeah.
We'll come on to your the business a bit more in detail. So it sounds like you've had a productive year. Just so people know a little bit more about you, and specifically travel, because obviously your business is mainly to help people who get in trouble when they're on their travel. So where did the passion for travel for you come from then?
I remember very early in my life being drawn to the fascinated to the whole airport experience and traveling, as a kid to Disney World in Florida, and how amazed it was at that time the U.S. as an experience. Um, and of course, later on in my life, well, my parents sent me to an exchange student program that I spent 1 year in Canada, and of course that for me was amazing. And once that happened, I basically didn't stop. I wanted to travel every moment, every opportunity that I can, even working to save money to travel, and that was it. So it also was very important for me at that time when I was 17 years old to be in Canada for a year, because I developed um, you know friendships that are still there during after basically 30 years. And I'm still in contact with my friends and so on. So I mean, traveling for me has been, from all points of view, quite important. The relationships, the friendships that I created in Europe, in Asia, in the US, in Latin America, in Canada, and so on. So uh, at the end of the day, for me, it's an aspect of life that it's quite important, and therefore that is why it has been kind of tough last year.
I guess going to Canada at the age of 17 is quite a bit of a transformative moment, isn't it? Where,
Oh, absolutely.
well, yeah, absolutely. I think
I
that's when
Shek, so you have to imagine a Latin American guy at 17 experiencing snow for the first time in his life. I mean, just right there, just it's an amazing thing to see. And it puts in perspective how different each country in the world, each region, and how life can be very rich when you learn to travel. I mean, when you travel and you learn things.
I guess Costa Ricans, then, as you just said there, someone going from Costa Rica to Canada and then you see snow for the first time. Do Costa Ricans get opportunity to travel as much? Because I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really meet too many Costa Ricans when I travel myself.
We're a very small country. However, our country, it's a very peaceful, a very, stable. We're very, our DNA is based on welcoming, foreign visitors, and we love to travel. It's funny because every time I travel, I always either say to my wife, or when I travel for work with my colleagues and so on, I always tell them, listen, it's funny, we haven't seen a Costa Rican in this trip, because usually uh, you tend to see them, because we travel a lot. And again, and on the other side, we're a very welcoming country as well.
You've got your company Legaroo. Did you study law, or was it something else you did prior to doing law?
Actually, after my year in Canada, I came back to my country and Costa Rica, and I studied law for 5 years, and I graduated, and I basically started my practice. And what is funny about my practice is that my practice has always been tied up to international clients, basically people who would come to Costa Rica to invest, to retire, to do business, and so on. And so that international side and aspect of my practice have been, tied to definitely to travel, totally. So, personally, well, I'm a corporate lawyer and as well a real estate lawyer. And this is what we do. We have a small firm, boutique firm in San Jose, and we 99% of our clients are international clients who basically come to Costa Rica to invest or retire, like I mentioned.
Going on to Legaroo then, how did that form? What was the idea behind it? What's the concept? And how can it help? I guess, internet, as you said, mainly 99% of people are international clients. So how can it help someone like myself or someone else if they're traveling?
Let me share a story how this idea, the first seed of the idea of what Legaroo is. And so I was sitting down in my office in San Jose. I had a meeting with a client of ours, an American client, very well respected American client, but he just, a very straightforward guy who wanted to always be aware of what he could do, he could not do while being in our country. So he sat down, and it was funny because he sat down with me and he said, Alex, I'm not a troublemaker, but what happens to me if I'm in a bar and somebody wants to hit me? And that was his question. And this is basically that question created Legaroo. And so I said, well, listen, I'm not a criminal lawyer, but in Costa Rica, your self-defense is proportional to the attack. So if you're attacked with a fist, you cannot put out a gun and kill someone, as self-defense. Well, it turns out that some countries in the world you really can do that. So that basically, stuck in my mind in the fact that we, as world travelers, we travel around the world without knowing the basic rules and regulations of each particular destination. And even though that it doesn't happen so often, if you have to deal with a legal problem in another country, everywhere in the world, that the solution, the process is totally different. I always give the example that whenever in the world you are and you cut your hand, probably the stitches and the way that you cure the hand is the same everywhere in the world. But if you rent a car and you get a small crash or a parking ticket, the solution to that particular issue is different everywhere in the world. So on the legal side, for one action, everywhere in the world, the process and the solution is totally different. There's no same country at all. Even when you talk about jurisdictions in the United States, I mean, in the United States, you have 50 different countries with different set of rules, from one state to the other. The same you may apply to other countries in the world. So you have to realize that, again, traveling is one of the greatest things and activities that a person can do in his or her life. However, you have to realize that the world has evolved uh, to extremely regulated, uh, world in which every country has its own set of rules. And of course, there's no way that you can realize yourself, especially how the same action that you are used to do in your own country, how can that have other effects in other places? Um, so this is what we're trying to solve. What we're trying to solve is that either out of ignorance or risk or that you have someone that you can turn to that can help you navigate that legal environment, that can assist you in solving a situation that hopefully is pretty basic and not complex, but that can also can degenerate into something that is very difficult, and that you as a local of another country cannot understand the process. And when you add to the mix things like language, for example, language barriers. You're in another country that you don't understand, the language, or they don't speak your native language at all, and so on. I mean, you are adding situations that can become very complex.
Let me try and give a scenario to people listening in. So, for example, I come to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Law in the UK is different to Costa Rica. Let's just say I break my leg. Let's just say in an accident, and it was my fault, for example. And then the guy is also hurt in the accident, so he wants to, let's just say, claim compensation or whatever, sue me. Now, obviously, laws in the UK is different. So this is where you would say Legaroo would come in. It doesn't, let's just say not Costa Rica. Let's just say another country where it's not in Costa Rica. Let's just say in Brazil. So you will then, I'd call you guys and say, right, listen, I've got into a bit of trouble. I've crashed my car, broke my leg, but also I've hurt the other guy. He wants to sue me. You would then come, is that right? Am I right in saying you would then come in and assist me with all my legal affairs? So what makes you different to, let's just say, other companies that might be very similar to what you do right now?
In relation to the first subject, yes. So basically, what we provide is a service in which you will have a lawyer beside you to help you understand the legal process that you're in order to help you understand and hopefully provide you with the steps to follow in order to solve it, right? The idea is that you will have someone that you can trust, someone that knows how to navigate that particular legal environment. No, a person who knows, a legal professional who knows how to speak with an authority, with a policeman, with a judge, with an administrative authority, and so on. So you will have the appropriate advice in order to solve it in the fastest and painless way. So this is basically what we're doing. And in relation to competitors, well, the reality is, chefs, that when you go uh, into, let's say that you travel to Brazil, the same example, and you have purchased your travel insurance or your travel assistance plan. Well, the reality is that sadly, the 99% of these travel plans will not effectively deal with legal issues. So basically, what they do is that they refer you to a list of providers, let's say lawyers, in each particular country, in this case in Brazil, but you will have to go out of your own pocket, negotiate, engage them, and pay them. So that's 99% of the offerings of the assistance and insurance international plans. The same as your embassy would do. The UK embassy probably will not pay for anything related to your legal expenses, but they will provide you with a list of lawyers and legal providers. but it will come out of your pocket. What we changed, and the reason why it's kind of disruptive what we're doing, is that we created a flow in which you already know who to call because you have a legal plan. Secondly, our law firms are vetted in the fact that they are trained and their practice are to help you solve these normal issues that a traveler may face, even if they're complex. Let's say criminal issues. And the third and most important part is that you're not being hit with expenses that you didn't foresee in your trip, because per our plans, there's a number of hours that they are already included in the plans. So by acquiring a plan, God forbid something happened to you on the legal side, you already know who to turn to. You already get in contact with that lawyer, and then you're not being hit with extremely, unexpected expenses. Um, Sadly, the law profession is quite predatory in times of urgency everywhere in the world. Some countries are more expensive than others, but yes, international visitors everywhere in the world are a target for a predatory profession. And this is what basically we're trying to solve.
Would you get this plan prior to traveling, and then you've got it there? Let's just say, like you would take out a travel insurance, and as you just said there, I wasn't aware of this myself. That 99% of these travel insurance don't really cover legal stuff. It might have it. It's very long sometimes. You read it and you think, I can't make sense of it. So, but you would actually, I'd go to Legaroo and say, it depends as well. But would you have to be in those countries to cover it? Would I be correct in saying so, or does it not?
Yes.
Yes, you'd have to. Right. Let's just say Brazil had it, and Legaroo was based in Brazil. You had a base in Brazil. I would say, okay, I want to take this out, and then, as you just said there, you would save the costs. And as you were saying, some lawyers will say, oh, this is quite easy. I can get an extra $1,000 or whatever. It will be part of the plan, and then you would cover whatever cost it is depending on the scenario. So that's actually a very, very, it's, I don't think I've come across many law firms like that.
No, not at all. The concept itself is quite unique. There's nothing out there like what we're trying to accomplish in Ligaroo. Our offering right now, it's more than 70 countries. We closed 2020 with a little bit more than 70 countries, and probably by end of 2021, we're going to be covering more than 100 countries. At least the big chunk and the big percentage of the travel demand. So probably we're not going to have a law firm in North Korea, for example, but not a lot of people travel to North Korea. With all due respect to North Korea, but the reality is that what we're trying to create is an offering to you know uh, for Europeans to travel to Latin America, to Asian countries that they often do, and so on. The same to Americans. I mean, probably our product you're a UK national, so if you travel to Germany, maybe you're not considering legal assistance. But if you travel to Brazil, or if you travel to Thailand, or if you travel to Tanzania, or so on, then you may be considering that you're entering jurisdictions that are quite exotic for you from all points of view, not only from the scenery and on the tourism side, but also from these situations that we would all love not to experience. But if it happens, I mean, why not having the appropriate tools to deal with it?
That's true, because you sometimes think, oh, it's never going to happen to me. But then when you think like that, sometimes those are the situations where I've known quite a lot of people have got into trouble. You just don't know, do you? And I guess if you take out a plan, there's no harm if you're taking out. I mean, my travel insurance all year round, because of all the traveling I do throughout the year. Well, I didn't do much traveling in 2020, but I paid for it still. But then you add that extra plan, and you just never know. There could be a situation where you might need legal assistance, and this is actually, as I said, this is a great way of tackling that problem. And then you know that person, I guess, not on a personal level. Then you know, then you've got someone on a legal side, and it'll be very handy. And I guess the other question I want to ask you is, how competitive are you in terms of, is it, can someone who's on a small budget be able to get assistance? Someone on a bigger, is there sort of different tiers?
We are very happy that we created a product that is quite affordable. I mean, what if you go to our website, the actually expense for a full coverage up to 20 hours of lawyer's fees, which is a lot of time to review a case. It's only $6, let's say €6 a day. Um, and once you hit a limit, it becomes just a flat fee. So from 1 day to five, you pay $6, or let's say €6 a day. But then after the fifth day, it becomes 25, and that's it for the whole month. So when you realize that you're traveling to another country, let's say Brazil, and your overall expense it's, let's say, €1,500 or so, like that, for 25 more, you will have a potential assistance of about €6,000 for to first respond and help you deal with a legal problem. So it's not. We believe that we have created an affordable product, but most importantly, if you deal with that situation, you really are getting your money worth.
As you said, you grew in 2020, and there wasn't as much traveling going on. But I guess second half of the year, there was still people travel. In terms of then the business as it is right now, you said you're growing. Your aim is to grow to 100 countries by end of 2021. Um, have you got plans in terms of marketing yourself, like events? Let's just say working with different partners. Is that another way of growing?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, first of all, we believe that the product is quite good. Um, we have done a very good job in order to to help or complement the travel industry with peace of mind and duty of care eh, 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 products, basically. Of course, our biggest challenge, since we're fairly new in the market, is to be known. So we take advantage of every every person who is who is willing to hear our story, our message, and why our product is important. So yes, we were invited already to many activities during 2020. I participated at the end of 2020 in the USA Crota Summit, which is the biggest tourism and travel conference in Turkey and Europe, for Turkish travel industry. I was invited to present Legaroo because it's such a unique product. I've been working with the World Young Travel Student Confederation based in Amsterdam, and did some webinars and some activities in relation to this. Our our product is so unique that it was profiled in an article at Forbes.com as well, as a part of a complement on safety and prevention, and how what are the current errors for the insurance companies while traveling and so on. And of course, it was a challenging year from the revenue perspective because there wasn't a lot of volume. However, what we took advantage of is to really create very good partnerships, um, from travel management companies, travel agencies, risk management companies, procurement firms, many of travel participants that really have found that our product is really worth it to deliver to their final customers. So it was an amazing year in relation to the concept and how it grew. We expect this year 21 to be a return on the on all the efforts from the revenue side. Yes.
During 2020 as well, when people were, well, we saw loads of people being stuck in certain countries. Did you try and help quite a lot of these people as well?
Yes, I mean we basically you have to understand that during the craziness of 2020, people, dozens of millions of travelers got stuck around the world for legal reasons, not for medical reasons, not because they were sick. It's because governments from one day to the other, they approved, closing of borders, vehicle prohibitions, forced curfews, forced quarantines, and so on. So this is why we got in and we started getting, a lot of requests for help, for understanding what to get our law firms and providers of our legal services in contact with people that didn't know what was going on. I mean, you have to realize that in this current age where you are also bombarded with news that are uncertain or fake, you need a local source of true information and information that you can really trust. And this is where our law firms get in to inform the people, or when these certain measurements would or measures would be lifted. What are your rights as a foreign person? When are you going to be able to travel again, and so on? So again, during the craziness of 2020, it was a very convoluted legal environment everywhere in the world, and more than ever, you needed someone to help you navigate that particular environment. Um, I don't foresee the legal environment to be over, or the craziness of the legal environment to be over in the next couple of years. I mean, it will pass, but it still is going to be, kind of mixed, because governments are going to adjust, or depending on what is going on, and it's not only health measures, but it will also involve security measures, political measures, immigration measures, and so on. And once again, as an international traveler, I do believe that eventually you would have, a trusted professional to help you. So this is what we did, and we tried to help people with during 2020.
A lot of people that you would have seen on the news. I saw tons of people saying borders are closed, you know, and I guess it would have been a long process for some of these, because some of the borders didn't open up for months and months and months. So I guess there would have been a lot of work that would have been required to help them.
Yeah, and also another thing which is important is that when a traveler is dealing with a legal situation in another country, you're not talking about that traveler's situation only. You're talking about the family back home getting worried. You're talking about the company getting worried, or the university, or the association, and so on. So this is also important, that back home, the family, the company, and so on will have that professional insight in that particular country, helping them understanding what is going on, what are the steps to follow, and hopefully solve it.
It sounds like it's on track. Let's hope by 2021 you get to your targets, and there's no other issues with any pandemics or anything like that. So let's just hope not. So people know a little bit more about yourself. So any specific, I know you've done your travels as well. So any specific travels that you can mention that sticks in your mind?
Tons. Well, first of all, I would have to say that because of Legaroo itself, I have been able to travel the world. Basically, I've been, promoting the company in Tokyo. I've been promoting the company in Edinburgh. I've been in Dubai. I've been in Santiago, Chile. I've been in many places in the United States, and so on. And so it has become a real interesting project because it has the advantage that I've known a lot of places that usually probably wouldn't be on my radar for only leisure travel. So many places in Europe that I've never considered going before, and I was extremely amazed about these places like Riga in Latvia, for example, as such an amazing, beautiful place, um, and got to know, got to go also to visit back places that I adore, like Prague in the Czech Republic, and so it has been an amazing ride because of Legaroo. And every place that I've gone and visited and present Legaroo, it's you also have to make time to enjoy the city, enjoy the country, meet the people, have a good beer, and enjoy. Part of what I also enjoy is go to learn about the local gastronomy and food, and this is part of what we really enjoy also.
It's important as well when your business is international,
Mhm.
getting to know each place as well. So when it comes to certain scenarios, and they say, then yourself firsthand, you've been there yourself, so you have an idea, which is actually a great way of traveling as well, isn't it? You travel, you learn about different things, and then it helps you grow as an individual, and then
Absolutely.
it will help you with your business as well, because you know the ins and outs of certain things that people don't know. So it's really really it's good, and I think that's why I was. I know in the United States, I don't know Costa Rica is not part. It's part of the Caribbean, isn't it? Costa Rica is part of the Caribbean
Yeah, one
island.
of our coasts is it's not an island, but it's yes, it hits on the Caribbean side as well.
Caribbean side. So I don't know the work life balance when it comes to the Costa Ricans. I know in the United Kingdom and Europe, it's very very balanced. So when you finish work, you finish work. Let's say 5 o'clock, that's it, and you get your weekends and stuff. I know in the States, having lots of American friends and spoken to a lot of Americans, sometimes they don't have that balance. I guess with the Costa Ricans, is it similar to the Europeans, or is it more like the American?
We're very lucky as a country that we always hit, the top 10, top five, and for a few years we were the first country in the Happy Index country. So yes, Costa Ricans, we have a balanced life. We have a balanced life, considering that we love the environment, we love a good sort of life, and at the same time, we work hard. So we have a balanced life, and as I mentioned also before, we're lucky that we're positioned in a region that can easily you can travel to the United States, or can easily travel to South America, or can easily travel to Europe. Um, so we're lucky that we're in a physical position that can allow us also to do great traveling, and also being a country and that is very very peaceful. I don't know if you knew this about us, but Costa Rica is one of the few countries in the world that doesn't have an army. We don't have an army since 1948.
I wasn't aware of that actually. I know Costa Rica is I think it's like the most eco-friendly country in the world.
That's absolutely right. So the fact that since 1948, and you have to go back to the end of the Second World War, since that time we don't have an army, and we have been a country that even my dad, who is almost 80 years old, doesn't understand the concept of an army. So for us, when we travel and we see soldiers and we see these big machine guns or tanks or warplanes, it's like being in a movie. And that has made the difference, the total difference for our country, because uh, since 1948 we decided that we rather spend all the money in guns or whatever into education and health, and that has created a society that that has very good, standards of living. Of course, we're a Latin American country with a lot of challenges and so on. However, that has always also impacted the fact that people are happy, that we know that we're not going to be in a war, we're not a threat to another country, and we don't believe that we should be have enemies around the world and so on. And that also means that we then have created very good partnerships and friendships throughout Latin America and throughout the world, basically.
That sounds very peaceful. It's Costa Rica is actually on my list, high on my list of places to go. So I might come this year. So just watch out anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll take you to a very incredible dinner. You'll see.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to it. And just one more question before I let you go. In terms of when you relax, is there anything that you do to wind down? Any hobbies that you like to do when you sort of, obviously I know you said travel is one big hobby, but anything else that people might not know about you?
Well, first of all, I really enjoy a very good game of tennis.
I'm actually a big tennis player. Well, I like to think I can play quite well, but I've been playing tennis for over 20 years. So we'll have to have a game when I come as well.
Absolutely. I really like it. That doesn't mean that I'm a good player, but I really like it. And also, part of what I try to do is read a lot, try to learn a lot, especially on what what I'm trying to accomplish right now in relation to leading Legaroo to become hopefully a company that provides good service and so on. I'm trying to read a lot and cultivate and get ideas from other brilliant minds around. So I enjoy that a lot.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your story and telling us about Legaroo. And I wish you all the best. And hopefully, when I get to Costa Rica, we'll play that game of tennis.
Absolutely, count on that. And thank you so much, Chefs, for having us on. And looking forward to a number of activities with you.
But I look forward to it as well. Thank you very much for your time. It was great getting to know Alex and his business. And if you'd like to get in touch with him, the details are on your screen now. That's it for Take On Those Chebs. Hope to see you all very soon. Until next time, bye for now.